We're seeing, fewer bigger games come out. I think I was looking at the list for VGA nominees, and I mean, it's significantly fewer games from fewer studios across the board. That's a trend that I think is only going to sort of seem to continue, and that we're seeing more and more sequels than ever before. But then we have some great new IP like A Last of Us that comes. You and I were talking about this the other day. Like at the end of the console cycle for Sony, they're launching a big new IP, which is completely non-traditional. But then everything else you look at the list, it's another Assassin's Creed, another Call of Duty. And I guess that's going to just be the way things are moving forward.
I'm not sad about it. Sequels are great. I mean, sequels are bad in movies because they can't recapture the magic that the actor had the first time, or the quality of the script just declines. But they refine game mechanics. I mean, was Assassin's Creed 1 anybody's favorite Assassin's Creed?
No.
Then if you're like a crazy person.
Sorry, yeah, but was 3 your
sorry,
favorite?
crazy people out there. I like 3 more than most people.
Right.
But Modern Warfare 4 is fantastic. Is everybody's favorite GTA the first one? Absolutely not. And the first Mario, I think, is few people's favorite. So sequels can be wonderful, but I agree. It's surprising. Like EA, they barely put in any games anymore.
Right.
You hope that there's a commensurate increase in quality with that. And of all things, I think we've seen a company like Activision, which is formerly kind of the villain of this, trying to at least sculpt up really good Skylanders each year, and has done a fairly good job of that. The Call of Duties are kind of up and down, but there's some hope there. It's an EA where I'm thinking, I hope that by making fewer games, you guys can make your games better. I just want EA's games to be better. They have so many people making them.
No, that's one thing I think you look at across the board this year. You look at like the critics and reviews and stuff like that. I mean, there's still a lot of games that are not getting great scores, and you have fewer games. And then, as you said, some of these games, just like when you look back at the year that was, I mean, did EA really ship another Army of Two? And it's like, it's like
That really happened.
at $60.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Why?
But I would say that I think it's two industries. You're looking at this sequel, huge studio-driven industry, and you're looking at this indie industry, and they are really surprisingly close together. I mean, you look at the sales numbers on a lot of these Steam games, and it's pretty crazy considering how few people made them.
Yep.
So as much as we bemoan sequels, indies pretty much fill my need for original creative gameplay. Plenty. So that's definitely something to focus on, and it's only getting bigger.
And I would say, like, in the last couple of years, I've probably played more great independent games than I have played, great big blockbuster things. Like, there is such a great volume of different studios trying crazy new things now. So I think that, maybe there's less of the big blockbuster stuff, but there's tons to look at in that indie universe right now.
Speaking of indies, that was a big focus for PlayStation this year, and this was the year of, we get once a decade, this console transition. Stephen, was it everything that it was cracked up to be? I mean, do you feel re-energized about the future of the business?
No, I'm not re-energized. Console generation changes, they're terrible. I mean, the launch games are almost always miserable or boring, and you kind of grade on a curve. Now, there are some games for a launch. I like Rise a lot. I think they did a really good job with that. But even Rise, I don't expect 2 years from now to still be my favorite Xbox One game. If it is, Xbox One's got serious trouble. But it's mostly becomes about the machines in the new year. And that's why I held out more hope that the machines that were in their second, third, or seventh year were going to produce better games. And the PlayStation 3 was, I think, the pleasant surprise there for me, and how much life there was still left in that system between Last of Us, Puppeteer, Rain, Gran Turismo 6 coming out after the PlayStation 4 came out. And that's cool to see that long-term support. Vita and 3DS, I'd say, also had really good years as well. So the machines that were out there. The new machines, they're going to stink for a year with nothing on them.
A year?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean,
Titanfall, not even going to
It'll
deliver.
be good, but I mean,
Titanfall
these are droughts, right? You buy one of these systems early, and you're waiting for the next game, and you better
Absolutely.
like the next thing.
No,
they're
I
gonna put
agree.
out.
Even with me, when I was, installing them in my place, it's like you have to disconnect the old ones. You're like, oh, maybe I still want that old box to play a lot of stuff. And it's
I don't think it's as much of an issue, though, at least definitely for Sony. I think, that first year, I completely agree, is usually just awful. But for Sony, because they've matched up all these indie agreements, you're going to see indie games basically fill out this entire first year for the console. When?
Like, they have no release dates on like most
You don't
of these
think there's
indie
going to be a
games.
bunch of indie games coming out in 2014 for PS4?
I thought they were already coming out at launch.
Where's
Most
Octodad?
of them
I have
even
expected
come
a
out
couple
at
of them to
launch.
come out in December, honestly.
I did too, but they're not going to come out in 2015.
I
don't know.
God hope not.
Look at those Kickstarter campaigns. I mean, that's any sign of how long these things take.
I think that'll help what would ordinarily be a really
I hope
slow
so.
first year.
All right, so it's been quite a tumultuous year for the gaming business, but it feels like things are back and strong, even with these new consoles. Even though Steven says it's going to be another drought for a year.
I don't think it'll be that bad, but it's just
Tough. All right, go back to your 3DS. All right, well, we're back next week. We'll talk more about 2014 and what we can expect from the industry.